In this tutorial, we're going to do an example how to get information onto your web page from a database. So I think I have one here. Right? So we're going to look at this database called Rampage Option. We have a table called Article that's got some information in there like an ID, title, staff, and the file name. Right? So we'd like to get this down to our web page. In this case, we're just going to look at the information and try to download the information and not really worry about formatting, right? So the first thing we have to do is we have to link to the database and have the right information. I have a DB config file here, right? So this is the information you need. Usually, this is given to you, right? Or you can get it from the website. So we're linking to this table right here. And this is the command that connects to the database. So we're going to test this out in a test page, right? And this is a test page that I'm going to run. So I include the db config file that connects. And then I'm going to check to see if everything went okay. If everything went okay, I'm going to do a query. So we'll get to that in a moment. But let's just test this out, right? So if you upload everything and you go, keep on going to the wrong one, and you go and you run this, you see that we were able to get some information from that database, right? I'm going to go back and I'm going to make a change here in the password, right? So I'm going to say 2, and I'm going to upload it. So now the password is not correct, and I'm going to try it again. And you see now you get a error message, right? All right, so everything has to be okay. So I'm going to change that back. Okay, and so how does this work? So what we're doing here is once we connect to the database and everything's good, we want to query the table. So we want a command, SQL command, and we want to be able to get something from the table. So this query simply says get all the fields from the article table. So it'll go and get every field. So that means it'll basically get all this information and download it. Once I have that, then I can print what I want, right? Well, first of all, I just give you a number of how many rows we have. And then, I'm sorry, this is it. How many rows we have. This is the query. So all the information from your query is stored in this variable, right? And this is the loop that goes through all the rows and prints, well, whatever you want, right? So in this case, I'm printing an article ID or article title, and I could add anything else I want, right? So think once I fix this, right? Good, that should be good. And here is my information. So this is straightforward, right? You should always, test your database, see if you're connecting correctly and if you're getting the information. But of course, this is not really the way we want to display the information, right? We want to display it on our website, with the CSS and tables. So we'll do that next. So the first part is to get a nice CSS table from a website. And I was able to find some nice ones over here. If you can see this one right here, I got some really nice ones, right? And so there's a little, you have to be careful which tables to get because, you're going to have to alter them and, how easy they are to alter. I'm talking about the columns, right? So if some of them are hard to alter the columns, also you have to be careful. Can you, if you change the columns in one table, can you do another table with different columns? So anyway, I have a nice table here. Looks pretty good. I added it to the members. I deleted a lot of stuff. And here is that table, the one I chose, right? It's got a scroll bar. So right now, this is the information with the table came with, right? And what we like to do is insert our own information from the database. So there's a couple of things with a table you have to be careful, right? Here's um, the table, all that stuff from the table, right? And if you look at, they use a lot of JavaScript and CSS, and and you have to make sure that their CSS doesn't interfere with yours. So I removed some stuff related to body and links and stuff like that, and just left the table stuff. You see, so this is the table. So they have a few different tables, and what makes this one, the reason I like this one, is that you see you could add columns. So right now it has five. How many columns? Five, and these are percentages. So if I wanted, I can add a sixth column, but you have to watch the percentages so they work out. So you can alter the percentages, and makes it pretty flexible. So on the members page, you have to link to all those table links, right? They have the CSS, the Bootstrap, etc., etc. So you have to make sure you have the links correct. These are table links, right? And then you have to, of course, insert the table. So here's the table down here, right? So this is their information, and you could see they have a header here for the table, and then they have the data. So what we need to do is, right now this table is hard coded. Every row is hard coded. You see right now. So what we need to do is we need to insert our information from the database, right? Okay, so the way we're going to do this is we're going to remove that hard-coded rows, all those rows uh, in that table. I left one commented out here, but all the rows are gone because I'm going to generate them using PHP and my information from the database, right? I included a PHP file that will, have the code on it again. I want to centralize, so when I look at if I'm looking at something or if I want to reuse something, I have it centralized. Um, so we go to the page, and to the top of the page, this members page, and we connect to the database like before. Check the connection. Right now, we're just printing something out, but that's a decision you have to make. What if the database is not open? You can redirect them to another page. It's up to you. But anyway, if everything works out, you do your query, and so you set up your query and you do your query. So articles restore all the information in the database. So we have that in the file. And then we go to the member data, and we're going to include this, and we're going to go through all the rows. So we go through each row of that table. I'm talking about the database table. And we're going to insert, if you look at the original row, right? Right here, no? I think it's right here. If you look at the original row, am I in the footer already? Yes. Right. So they put in some names, right? So what we want is to put in information from the database, right? So we're going to replace that with the information from the database, right? So this will be going through every row. ART will represent one row at a time, and in each row I have different fields, and I'm going to insert them into the table. So row by row by row. Okay, so when I test this out and I go to the website, you see that the table now is the information from the table, although the staff is not coming out. I could see and staff and genre are not coming out. So if I take a look, what did I do? You see I mislabeled that. It's staff ID and genre ID. So if you look at the code, I didn't put ID, so it didn't find it, so I left it blank. Oops. So ID, genre ID. So let's upload that now and see it'll load it up. And those are the numbers. So right now, we have, one interesting thing is that um, that the spacing is off, right? If you look at the spacing, the staff, I think, is getting too much. Um, the column is a little too, so we can fix that. Okay, so after a little work, you could see that we have a little proper alignment, right? And that had to do with the percentages here. If you look at that CSS for the table, each column had a percent. So I went and I changed these percent, to make it more reasonable with what I have. As you can see, the second row with the title and the last row with the file name has a larger percent. So, you play around with that and you can get something that looks a little better. Although I took away the padding here. So on the first column, there was a padding, and I think, you see, I took away, I said, so let's put 10% padding, or 10 pixels, maybe 5. Oops, 5. So you could play around with that and get the right look. Let's see, it should be a little off now. It could be a little more. So the other thing is, well, right now this table's hard. I mean, the percentages are hard coded, right? I'm gonna try 10. Oh, that's right, padding right. Um, that's padding right. Let me do for the first column padding left, and so that's why I wasn't working. Left. How does it look? Left. 5 pixels. Okay. Let's see. So did I mess anything up? So it should be a little better. Okay. The other thing, like I said, is now this whole table is hard coded for this exact data, right? But what if I wanted, to use this in another table, right? In another page, but the other page has different data and maybe has an extra field. So, one thing you can do is you can copy this whole table, call it table 2, and then refer to it, and then change the percentages. But that's kind of silly, right? You're copying everything. So there's another solution, a better solution. Okay, so the solution is to take out just the column percentages and take them out of this page, right? And put them on the page that you want. So I'll comment this out in the main CSS, and I put them on the members page, and I put them in a style. And here I could play around with the percentages, right? So if you had another page with another table, you can certainly, alter things a little bit. You can say, well, okay, I have another column 5 or column 6, and, put percentages here, and on and on. So you can customize it. So this is a good example of extensibility. If you have a table here, how could you, manipulate it or extend it? So it can be reused. So that's another good point. So in this case, this shouldn't affect me because I don't have a column 6. But if you had another page with a column 6, then it would appear over here. Of course, you have to watch the percentages and all that, right? Just looking at the, yeah, you see, if you don't have enough space, it wraps around. Okay, so that's not too bad.